Here we go, episode 123 of the Hardline Sports Talk. I'm Michael Merlo. That's John Michael Masiri on the other side of the screen. JM, it is the Thursday, well, now Friday or Saturday for our listeners before the Super Bowl. We're just a few days away. I don't know what it feels like to be a player or a coach in this game, but this must be the longest 2 weeks of your life if you're in this game. But before we talk about how the players are doing and what we think is going to happen, I'm going to ask you how you're doing.
I'm doing good, man. Always good to come on here, whether it's in person, whether it's online, talk some ball with you. Right now is the first moment in a long time, probably since November, where I've been like thinking about 3 sports at one time. I've been thinking basketball, I've been thinking football, and I've been thinking baseball.
How does that feel?
If you want to throw in some NASCAR too, that's what I've been thinking about, but nobody wants to hear me talk about that. So yeah, it feels good. I think you're a little ahead of me with baseball. I think you're starting to get excited. I will say, I've been feeling a little under the weather today, so I had a lot of downtime. So I actually watched the entire compilation of Aaron Judge's 62 home runs, which was like 30 minutes long. And I watched the whole video, like uninterrupted. Like didn't check my phone, but it was kind of nice. Feels good to just zone out. You know what I mean?
Did it get you back in the field a little bit?
It did. I started getting a little excited.
Coming?
Then I saw Josh Donaldson greeting him at home plate and started, yelling things.
Yeah.
But I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. And watched a lot of Super Bowl coverage today. Starting to get real excited. So I'm good.
I think this game, and before we start about the game, so I'll plug our social medias quickly. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube to like and subscribe to the channel. We've had some great feedback, great support lately, and we really appreciate it. On the social medias, check us out. We got posts usually every day or, a few times a week at least. So make sure you're checking that out. But this game here, I think we got lucky because we got 2 really great storied franchises. And I think we did get the 2 best teams, at least with the way they were playing down the stretch here with the Chiefs and the Niners. You talk about the Chiefs and the offense turning it on during the postseason and their defense, the way the defense played throughout the entire season, and then flip over to the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, they were arguably the best team in football all season long, definitely in the NFC. I mean, with the statement they made in Philadelphia in the middle of the year, they definitely proved themselves to be the best team in the NFC. And I think we've gotten lucky here with this matchup. What do you think?
From a fan reaction, 2 weeks ago when both championship games were over, I was annoyed. Like I didn't want to see the Chiefs make it, and I was probably rooting slightly for the Lions, but I was happy to see the Niners make it. I didn't really have a problem with them getting there, but to see this matchup again in the Super Bowl annoyed me. But now as time's going by and as we're getting closer to the game, it really I'm trying to think at previous Super Bowl matchups, and I really can't think of one where you have 2. I like to use the word juggernaut, and the Chiefs haven't been a juggernaut this year. Their story's been much different than over the past couple years, but over the past 5 years, the Chiefs have been more juggernaut than anybody else. I just think that this matchup is so exciting because these 2 teams, right? When you have 2 teams like the Niners and the Chiefs, they seem to miss each other in the Super Bowl, right? One team, like we saw it last year, Chiefs make it last year, Niners miss it, right? And you always feel like they can never match up together. And they did 5 years ago. But guess what? That was the Niners' first real run, right? That was the Chiefs' first appearance in the Super Bowl in the Mahomes era and first appearance in decades. To have both these teams where the Niners are not a dynasty, but they've been sort of the NFC top dog over the past 5 years. If you had to choose one team, they always seem to be in it. And they were certainly in it this year, and they've now made it to the Super Bowl. And now to have the Chiefs, who have ruled the AFC, who have been there 4 out of 5 years, who have arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, to have them matching up in the Super Bowl at this stage in their timelines is special, I think.
A lot of whether it's the NBA Twitter account or Major League Baseball does this a lot, they'll write stories and, they project the next 10 World Series matchups, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's, it's a crapshoot at that point, trying to predict the World Series matchups or any championship matchups, even a year out, but they do it 5 to 10 years out. And it's interesting sometimes when you see some of the matchups, and I kind of think of it like, when we had that first matchup between San Francisco and Kansas City, you would have thought they would have gotten back and played each other again. Like you mentioned, these are just two great franchises with great head coaches and,
Mhm.
really good players. And you would have thought they would have gotten there again. And it's funny with San Francisco, the way they've gotten back with the players they've gotten back with. And I think more specifically, Brock Purdy. They're back with, a undrafted, excuse me, the
Yeah,
last pick in the draft,
yeah.
Mr. Irrelevant. And it's just the whole storyline of Purdy to me with the San Francisco team to go along with Shanahan. It really does make this even more intriguing.
Yeah, and I mean, the storyline is very intriguing, and I think the fact that these aren't the same two teams by any means, really, that first matched up in the Super Bowl, I think that makes it a lot cooler, right? You got a completely different quarterback, like you're talking about for the 49ers. CMC was still, in his prime of the Carolina Panthers days when the Niners made it back in 2019. So this is a new look 49ers, right? You still have some familiar faces in George Kittle and in Debo Samuel, but it's cool to have this sort of new age Niners now. It's a part two. This isn't Warriors Cavaliers where you have the same faces popping up year after year, right? We got a completely different look here for the Niners, especially, and the way the Chiefs are built in general, right? You had a Tyreek Hill, and you had that hot flashy offense, and ooh, is that defense going to hold up against the Niners? Now it's the complete opposite. Now it's, well, they got Pat Mahomes, Kelsey, and then everybody else and whoever the hell they got over there for weapons wise. And the Chiefs' identity, besides their amazing Hall of Fame quarterback, is that defense.
I think talking about Shanahan a little bit here, I don't know if there's been a head coach under more pressure in the biggest game in a while because look at, kind of his, career arc. He's been, labeled as one of the top offensive minds in the league for years. And even before he had become a head coach with San Francisco, but go back to the 2016 Super Bowl where they blow the lead. And I've never seen a coordinator get as much blame as the head coach did for blowing and losing a football game as Shanahan did in that Super Bowl, and deservedly so with the way they handled, having that big lead. Then you go back to 2019, and I don't think it was his fault, but they lose the game, and that's another mark on his resume now. Well, he didn't win in the bigger game, and now we look at the last four out of the last 5 seasons. They're in the NFC Championship game, and they're not getting over the hump until now, and now they're back. So for Shanahan, I think this is a big game for his legacy, and
It's huge.
I think
Yeah.
for him to just get over that hump of not being able to win the big game, I think
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
Well, I think I'm just trying to think back now to some coaches that were maybe under similar pressure. I mean, probably McVay his second time around. It wasn't too
Okay.
hot, but it was like, all right, you lose this one. Now we're starting to, everybody was calling Sean McVay the next genius of the NFL, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, we can't really give you that title if you lose 2 Super Bowls. And he obviously ended up winning that one, but honestly, the last coach I could think that had the same sort of storyline, the same sort of pressure was Andy Reid with his first Super Bowl, on the flip side of it against Shanahan with the Chiefs, because before that, Andy Reid didn't have a ring. And Andy
Yeah.
Reid was getting talked about to be an all-time head coach, and he was really getting up there with all-time wins. And it was like, all right, but you haven't won a championship. It's time. And I think there was a lot of pressure on him there to get it done because he finally had that MVP quarterback, the sexy offense. And I really, if you would like to, I would like to talk more about Andy Reid because
Yeah.
I think he's getting credit now more and more, but I still think he doesn't get enough credit. I think that everybody hears Bill Belichick's name and is immediately like, oh, probably the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
I am, this might surprise you, and it's not Patriots hater, JM. I'm not being biased
Mm.
here. I am really getting to the point where if they win this Super Bowl, if the Chiefs win this Super Bowl, I will come on the show next week and I will tell you that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are quite possibly in the same respect as Tom Brady and Bill Belichick at that point. Because Number one, I want to bring up Andy Reid's past before Mahomes. Sure, he had some shortcomings in Philly. I would argue that he elevated that team to points where they didn't know it was possible, right? Donovan McNabb had a really nice career with Philly. Mike Vick gets out of prison and ends up having one of the best years of his career there, and they're relevant again. Then he goes to Kansas City. Alex Smith, not a bad quarterback, but number one pick, disappointing career at that point, and ends up having his best years in Kansas City and winning a couple playoff games. And then what we all forget, Pat Mahomes was drafted by Andy Reid. And I'm sorry, any other coach out there, you could list a couple like your McVays, and we could get all hypothetical here. There is no other coach out there that would be able to develop Patrick Mahomes into what he is today like Andy Reid has. And I think that if they go 3 Super Bowls now in 5 years?
5 years.
That congratulations, you're in Tom Brady, Bill Belichick territory.
Yeah, I think the one thing that they would get a ton of credit for is that Mahomes looks so much more developed than Brady did 4 or 5 years in. Because we looked at those numbers after they beat the Ravens in the AFC Championship game, and Mahomes is significantly better than Brady was. Brady had the championships, but overall play, every number backed Mahomes. So with Andy Reid and Mahomes, I think they need to win probably one more, like get to 4, win more than they did in like that kind of like 5-6 year span. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because because they won 3. Do you count 3 championships in like a 5-6 year span as a dynasty? Like, do you think the Giants
100%.
were a dynasty in baseball?
I don't know what there's obviously no definition of dynasty.
No, it's really just like what you think. Like it's up for determination.
I saw this debate on Twitter. I know we're switching sports. I do consider the Astros to be a dynasty. If you win multiple championships and have multiple championship appearances in a 5 to 6 year span, I think you're a dynasty. The Astros ran through the AL year after year. So I think the Chiefs, whether they win this one or lose this one, I still think you consider them a dynasty over the past 5 years. You have 2 Super Bowl. Let's say they lose. They got 4 Super Bowl appearances and 2 Super Bowls over that span. I think they're a dynasty.
See, I think the Astros. How many of the Astros win? 2?
The Astros won 2017 and 2022.
2. I think you need one more there. I think you need one more because I know you talk about the AL. You talk about the AL championship and the AL championships, the pennants they won, and even just getting to that championship series. They probably needed one more. Same thing with Chiefs.
I just think with sports today, especially in baseball, football, the rules really haven't changed too much, but especially in baseball, the way that players are much more marketable now, and it's not just these huge market teams, and the way analytics and sabermetrics have come into the game where you have these small market teams like the Rays competing, and we could talk about the Moneyball days. Like, I think it's really hard to win year after year in baseball like the Yankees did in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So I think what the Astros did, I think deserves and I can't stand them. But I think deserves dynasty respect.
It's a good point by Reid, though, and I think that point you make about Reid being under pressure in that first Super Bowl, I think he's probably under more pressure than Shanahan was in this one, 100%. We are dealing with here, the last pick in the draft, and I think Kyle Shanahan deserves a lot of credit. Let's talk about the last pick in the draft. I think he's my favorite player in football right now. That's Brock Purdy, the last pick in the 2022 draft. You see that? You see the owner of the Niners? I want to say his name's Jed York. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. Did you see that clip about him talking about Shanahan? How he went up to him after practice? He's like, "Yeah, the guy we drafted last overall is probably our best quarterback." Yeah. How funny is that, man? Yeah. That's a gregreat story.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you're like, okay, is that a good thing or a bad thing? What
do you think of Shanahan saying though? Oh, but Trey's still the guy. Trey's still the guy, and like Jimmy's backing him up. What do you think of that?
I think you don't want to pull the plug too soon. I think Shanahan probably it's a little ego. You're just at that point where I think they were okay they had a little insurance with how good that team was that they could still kind of try to force this Trey Lance thing and not completely fall on their face, and they didn't. They've been division champion year after year, basically, and in the deep in the playoffs year after year, through whoever their quarterback has been. But I mean, I get it. I mean, what is your take on it?
What was my question? I'm dead serious.
You asked me a question, you didn't even remember what it was. You asked me, what do you think about him saying Trey's still our guy?
I think that, and I watched the video 6 times. Sorry, I was thinking about my next question, which you're gonna love.
Okay.
Um, I think Brock Purdy. I think you had time to develop Purdy, so I think you're kind of right there. Well, we're gonna try with Trey. We gave up so much for Trey. Let's see what works.
Yeah.
And if it really just fell flat on our faces, whatever. I don't think they would, even if he was clearly the best guy, where everybody knew that he was the better quarterback out of those 3. I still don't think they would have wanted him to start yet. And ideally, they wouldn't have had him start any games last year. Ideally, they would have had him just ride the bench and learn and keep developing, and then threw him in there.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is, do you know, I don't want to get this number wrong. I think he started like 45 games in college or something like that. That is so insane. Like, and they're talking about it. You're gonna love this. I really was watching the herd today, like pretty intensely.
That's my guy.
And they're talking about these GMs and everybody, like, nobody knows still how to draft quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, it's crazy how it's such a mystery, but I think that it's going to be that way forever, because I think it supports the fact that we say all the time, just because this guy's a great prospect, situation matters, coaching matters, environment matter, everything matters. That's why when I see, like, I think I talked about this last week, when I see Jets fans on Twitter saying, oh, we passed on Patrick Mahomes and oh, we passed on Josh Allen. Let me tell you something, Jets fans. If we had Josh Allen or we had Patrick Mahomes, they probably end up not, I don't want to say sucking because they have so much talent, but they wouldn't be what they are right now because we would mess it up in some way.
Well, also think about this. What is wrong with my brain right now? I keep forgetting what I was going to say.
You know, while you're trying to regroup, let me do a quick interruption. This NFL awards thing right now is an actual, like, absolute joke. I just read 2 things within 5 minutes on Twitter that are making me lose my mind right now. Number one, Christian McCaffrey won Offensive Player of the Year, which is obvious. Everybody should vote Christian McCaffrey. Maybe you want to say Hill, but he got hurt, right?
No, it's him.
CeeDee Lamb received a first place vote for Offensive Player of the Year. He had 1 first place vote. They should make that person, whoever did that, publicly say who it was and then fire them from the committee that votes for that.
You really think that's that outrageous?
That's ridiculous. Over McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb. Great season.
I think CeeDee probably was over Tyreek.
Oh, but what's the argument? It's not like
Tyreek got hurt.
But his numbers were still good, better anyways. It doesn't matter if you want to say, like, oh, well, you know, CD played on the Cowboys. They had a great year. Tyreek Hill and Christian McCaffrey's in the Super Bowl. Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb were bounced down the same round. So there's no argument for team performance.
Yeah, I don't know. CD was that good, though. CD was that dominant, and it was just
get a
him.
First place freaking vote.
It was just him. Anyway, what I wanted to say
Hall of Fame class. Well, last one. Hall of Fame class. Julius Peppers, Devin Hester, Dwight Freeney, Andre Johnson, Patrick Willis, Steve McMichael. I don't even know who that is. Not gonna lie, and Randy Gradishar. Those got to be like executives. I don't even know.
No Antonio Gates.
Yeah, that's exactly what no Antonio Gates is actually wild. But
yes, texted about that before.
Anyways,
yes, that's crazy. What I wanted to say before about the drafting thing, I think you're going to see a lot of offensive coaches here draft more quarterbacks, even if they're not in need of one, as we saw Shanahan do, to try not only to try and replicate what he did, but these offensive coaches, I mean, they could think on the fly. They're very good, you know, obviously offensively and with quarterbacks, a lot of them. Try and develop your backup, because we saw how important a backup quarterback was this season, where if you're not signing one and spending a ton of money on one, spend a draft pick on one of these guys and try and develop them and make them your backup and potentially your starter, depending on, you know, your quarterback situation moving forward. So I think we're going to see that a lot. My question to you that I thought you would love was, this is really off topic, Purdy, $900,000 is what he's making, right? You hear me there?
Yeah. I thought you froze. What the hell was that?
No, I'm asking you. He's making $900,000, right?
Yeah. I thought that was a rhetorical question.
Do you think that Brock Purdy is like sitting in Vegas? And I know he can't gamble, obviously, but the amount of money flowing around Vegas, billions of dollars, and I would do anything to be there. But do you think he's like really jealous of these people making money? Like, listen, I know $900,000 a lot of money. We're broke college students. We understand it.
Mhm.
You're not anymore. I'm still a broke college student. You know the feeling of being
Yeah.
a broke college student.
Yeah.
Purdy and these guys is Lens is a broke kid making
Yeah.
$900,000. I mean, do you think he
okay.
feels it a little bit?
I mean, I imagine at this point he's probably making millions. I don't know if he has any endorsement deals lined up. I would imagine he does. If he doesn't, and I'm a company doing marketing, I'd jump all over that. Yeah, no, but it definitely does got to sting a little bit. What is he's going to be going into his third year of that contract. So, depending on what happens, if they win the Super Bowl, I imagine that they'll give him an extension. Maybe they'll wait another year. I don't know if he's the type of guy that's going to start putting some pressure on him. I know he's a family guy, a little bit reserved kid. I don't know if he's
great kid, man.
I'm sure his agent, there's no modest sports agents out there. They're all sharks.
Yes.
So, I'd imagine that they're telling him. What?
He can't get paid though.
What do you mean? Like legal? Like in the NFL, he's not allowed to get an extension?
I think it's another year, another full year. How crazy is that?
In that case, I'm telling my teammates, yo, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, CMC.
They can't let him pay for.
Let me get a little scuttle.
These guys must be paying for everything.
Oh, they gotta pay for everything.
They must be. I mean, we knew that story about McCaffrey and the Christmas presents or whatnot. He bought the offensive line. He took care of that for him.
Yeah.
But that's tough. I mean, that's a tough situation.
I think he's all right. We know he's not making ends meet, but I'm saying I'm sure he's getting endorsements. I'm sure he's getting some sort of perks where he's very comfortable financially, and I'm sure has the money to splurge on some nice.
I mean, he's paid. I think he has a roommate. If this story is true from the offseason, he's got a roommate in San Francisco.
Yeah,
and we know about San Francisco. That's not a good place to live.
But he has a girlfriend. I don't know what the deal is there.
Oh, didn't he just? I think he just asked her to marry him.
We're turning into like E-News right now. Are we gonna talk about Taylor Swift next?
We could if we want. How about that? How about that flight from Japan to Vegas, man?
Yeah, enough.
That's tough.
Can we get into these bets soon? Because I'm actually like developing a problem for Sunday. I'm doing research on weird stuff right now.
How weird that you got to make sure you can gamble on it here. You're not allowed to gamble on a lot of crap.
BetMGM, you can bet on so many things on the halftime show.
Really?
You can bet on what the first song's going to be, how many songs he's going to sing.
Are you going to bet on that? Are you that much of a degenerate?
Okay.
That you need something during the halftime show?
There is a bet where you can pick if he's wearing a hat or not when he comes out for the halftime show. And I'm liking no. No's like plus 130. I'm getting plus odds on that.
Oh, my God. You know what? You saw the amount of money that's going to be legally wagered on wagered this weekend.
No, what's the number?
It's in the bit. It's like 50 or 60 billion.
So this is just ridiculous. I wanted to tell you about this. So yesterday, I'm just bored I'm scrolling on YouTube, right? And the first video there is this like 60-minute special on sports gambling. And it's like 13-minute video, right? It's not 60 minutes, they lied. So I'm like, you know what? Let me watch this. And it's talking about like how like sports gambling is like the new epidemic. And it is actually like hysterical. Like you need to watch it because the way they're talking about it, they bring in this like sports gambling psychologist, and he's like, oh, the way they're deceiving you, and it's just like tobacco all over again, and you have all these young men that are like, and then they bring on these like gambling addicts, and you have this guy that he was like, I was doing a tennis parlay at 4 a.m, and like I was depositing my entire paycheck into my FanDuel account every week, and I'm like, you know what, like that guy's a loser. Sorry, like
yeah, I mean,
He would find something else if sports gambling didn't exist. He would go to the casinos. He would be, doing something shady.
No, it's listen, they broadcast it. They do a great job advertising. It's
They do.
fun. It's listen, I don't have like you know me. They had to legalize it. If people are going to do it, if people are going to do it illegally, which there's going to be probably double the amount I just said bet legally, illegally this weekend.
Yeah,
you might as well make some money
exactly.
on it. Jesus Christ,
Exactly.
man.
It's good. It's good for the state economies. All right, we're worried about economics here, guys.
Yes.
That's what we're doing this for. Okay. So if I want to put 10 beans to win 500 on a parlay, let me rock 60 minutes. Okay.
Exactly. And listen, I'm listening to Mad Dog today, okay? My guy Mad Dog on his radio show on Sirius XM. And he has the CBS chairman, the boss, everything CBS. And they're talking about the Super Bowl and the production of it and whatnot. And he asks him about ratings and why just the NFL is growing at such a rate, even with people, dropping cable. You still have crazy numbers, and yeah, they're streaming and whatnot, but you have these crazy, crazy numbers still, and they're going up. And he asks him why, and they're talking about just the NFL and whatnot. And I think the obvious answer is gambling and fantasy. I mean, it has to be, right? I mean, that's your obvious answer for why this just is continuing to grow and to get to rates that we've never seen.
Yeah, of course. I mean, why, where does most of our knowledge, or mine personally, about the rest of the sport come from is fantasy football. Like, you wouldn't know who coming into the season, right? You wouldn't know a Rashee Rice or an Isaiah Pacheco as well if you didn't play fantasy football. Nobody knows who. If I go and ask, anybody right now, if I go ask my dad, if I go to work, if I go anywhere and I say, hey, you know who Tyjae Spears is? Everybody's going to be like, who the hell is that? And I'm going to be like, well, he's actually a pretty solid fantasy running back. He's Derrick Henry's backup. Like, no. It's the betting, it's the fantasy, it's all that stuff. It goes back to the reason why I would know random offensive linemen as a kid is because I'd play Madden and do all the little fantasy drafts, and I'd be picking everybody on my team and know everybody at the end of the day. Yeah. You're not getting it from watching the games.
No, 100%. It's just it's grown to rates that we've never seen. All right, let's give some predictions here. Let's go over some more bets you're thinking of first before we go predictions. What's the craziest thing you've seen? I think having halftime show bets is absolutely nuts in New York. I'm gonna have to look at that now. Damn it.
Well, so I've never actually bet on the national anthem, but this year I want to do it. I think it'd be funny.
That's a lot of. I got to tell you something. It's a lot of fun.
I'll tell you what. I'm going under. I'm going under this year. I've seen the rehearsals. I've heard the rehearsals. She can't hold a note too well, or he. I don't even remember.
She's old, Rita. Yeah, she's old.
She can't hold her notes too well. So I'm gonna go, and I don't want no cheap BS. I don't want no starting the clock. As she's taking a breath in, as soon as that first word is said, start the clock. Mm-hmm. I'm going under. How about this one? This was honestly like one of the funniest ones I saw. Will any coach or player cry during the national anthem? Even odds. Yes or no, same odds.
That was a lock last year.
Yeah, Sirianni freaking filling a pool with his tears.
I don't think so. I don't think you're going to have guys crying this year. I mean, you have two teams that have been here before.
What about you don't think Brock Purdy gets a little emotional?
No, I think Purdy's
he's a spiritual guy.
He's a spiritual guy, religious, love it. He's locked in. He's got this mentality, man. He's cool, calm, and collected.
CMC? You don't think CMC lets out a little tear?
No, I don't. I think he's a
watch it. It's gonna be but this is the thing. How do I know that the 49ers backup left guard is crying, but he's not on the broadcast? Like, what are the rules here?
That's tough. That's
because you got to catch him on camera crying,
right? Because then you can just make it up.
Yeah,
like, oh, the backup left guard for the Chiefs is crying.
And what constitutes a tear? Because I could get a little teary-eyed and wipe it away,
or I could rub my eyes so much to the point where my eyes are tearing.
Right. Do we need a run down the cheek? Is that what constitutes
That's why these are crazy, man. That's why you can't gamble on some of these.
How about
That's why it's impossible.
will a player leave the game due to concussion symptoms and not return?
And not return.
Yes, plus 120.
I think we've seen in this postseason, man, they're not checking upstairs for a lot of these hits.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you remember how in the regular season they'd be like, oh, take him out. That was a hard hit to the head.
Yeah.
They're not doing that this year. They're not doing that in the postseason.
No, the NFL's bending rules. No.
Officiating's been good in the postseason. I have to say, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, but they're always good at
We
sweeping
talked about
stuff
that.
under
We
the
talked
rug.
about that last week.
Oh, how about this one? All right, good one.
Oh God.
How many players will throw a pass attempt over under 2.5?
Oh, I think I saw this somewhere else.
So the over is plus 1. So you're getting plus odds on the over.
I would just say yes.
You think a little trickery? You like a Travis Kelce pass attempt?
No, I don't think he'll let him throw a pass.
Yeah, that's true.
No, it could be Debo throw it. No, right? Or Ayuk. Not
Ayuk
really.
won't be able to sling it.
I don't know. All right, no. I'll go no. I'll go under.
Okay.
I mean, I know that's chalk. I'll go under.
All right, two more. This one, I pray to God the under hits. How many times will Taylor Swift be shown live throughout the game? 5.5.
I think they'll go over.
Kickoff to end score. No post game, no pregame.
I know I'm a Swiftie. I mean, I'm not a Swiftie, okay? Because these people are no. I gotta say,
no. Go ahead. You're right.
I like Taylor Swift. I like her music a lot. Okay, my sister likes Taylor Swift a lot. We like her music. To no extent are we these crazy psychotic people that would go above and beyond, give our lives for this woman. I mean, these fans are worse than sports fans at times with their love and their obsession with this girl. It is, you know what, it is cult like. It's very weird.
Yeah.
I have no problem being a fan of her, really liking her, spending a ton of money going to concerts, but these people are nuts.
And I know not every Taylor Swift fan is like this. Like, I know people that like Taylor Swift. I know you're not all like this, but it really is. Did you see the reaction to her at the Grammys?
Like,
you had to see. Did you see this video? So it's this group of like 6 to 8 women watching the Grammys, and Taylor Swift announces that she's releasing an album. Just so happens to be the week before the Super Bowl, right? Great timing.
Yeah.
And I have to show you these girls. They're literally like this, right? They go like this. They're like, Taylor Swift goes, she's like, I have an announcement to make too, and they go, oh my God, what? And they're like. And she
like
goes,
we are when a big play's about to happen for our team.
And she goes, I have an album coming out in like April. And they're like, oh my God, tackling each other like we would if somebody scored a touchdown on our team. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
These people are crazy. They're weird. They're weird. They're weird.
It's weird. It's a cult. It's very weird.
And we don't need the Swifties. If we clip this and put this out, we don't need the Swifties on our bad side here.
Yeah.
We really don't. Because I don't need comments again.
Oh, bring it on.
Shut up. Oh, shut up. You're an idiot. Shut up. I don't need that. I don't need that in my life. Okay. Please. Enough. But yeah, she'll be there.
If we do put something out there, they come at you. They're aggressive.
No, they'll be like, sending my address.
They'll be like, oh yeah, little man, like whatever, this and that, like small peen, like they'll go.
I'm not against being a fan of her. I think they should show her. I think it's good. It's no matter what way you look at it, it's good for football. It's good for her. It just makes sense. It's good for the TV network to show her. It makes all around sense. Okay. Yeah. But you have psychotic fans.
Yeah.
You got crazy people. Okay. That's what you have. Any other bets there? That'll go over, by the way. That'll go over 5.5. I'll look for that.
I had one more and I was laughing too hard. How many times will the freaking chains be used for measurement? That's
Nah.
insane. We'll just do the classic one. There's a couple ones here, like who the Super Bowl MVP is gonna thank in his speech.
God, it's probably like
Gator
-500.
Gatorade color.
Yeah, I think this is the most overplayed one.
I
don't
just
know.
can't get over the fact that clear is plus 1,000.
Yeah.
How do we not know? Like, what if I'm sure they have Gatorade and water on the sideline. So what if they just take the water one
On accident.
and dump it? Plus, you got a glacier freeze, maybe.
I mean, please tell me you cannot listen. I'm not one of these people. The NFL's rigged. You can't tell me that cannot be handled.
Oh, that's
that one's rigged.
That one's rigged. They asked a guy asked CMC, he's like, so what kind of color Gatorade you guys like or whatever, and he like wouldn't answer.
Yeah,
But there's a guy out there. He's like, oh, my cousin's the equipment manager for the Chiefs. This is what color exactly.
It's orange.
It's all a scam.
Interesting. Gatorade on the sideline. We never really thought about that.
Right?
Like we had water. I mean, that's what we had.
Oh yeah.
Imagine having Gatorade. That'd be something.
We shared bottles.
Yeah, we got sick. That's what we did.
Yeah.
This is pre-COVID when everything was shared.
Imagine a varsity football team with a mono outbreak and everybody sharing water bottles.
That was good. That was good in a water tree. Yeah, please. So let's not get ourselves in trouble here. All right, let's give predictions here before we wrap this up. The NFL, man. Oh God, it's sad.
It's
sad. This is the last episode where it's really mainly NFL until the draft. Really,
is it just me or did it fly by? But at the same time, went like Aaron Rodgers Jets talk felt like years ago, like the preseason hype, because that's like all we really would talk. We would mainly talk about that.
We talked a lot about that,
but at the same time, freaking blink of an eye, it's just like holy crap.
No, it flew, and I thought about this towards the middle of the year because I didn't want to wish it away. I didn't want not wish it away, but just like I want to try and like live in the moment every Sunday, like appreciate it because it's not going to be here.
Yep,
and it flew. You couldn't catch it. It flew.
Well, all right, Jay. This is our third season together.
This is our third full NFL season.
Our third full season,
and this is going to be the fourth MLB season. Right?
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, our 3-year anniversary is next month, which is ridiculous.
So then it's our third.
It's our fourth. No. It's our fourth MLB.
21, 22, 23. Yeah, 24. Wow. It's crazy. All right. Let's start with you.
My prediction, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. As much as my heart wants to pick the Niners, and the Niners are a really good team, and I think it's going to be a really, really good game. I don't see this being like a blowout on either side. But I just think what it comes down to and what really solidifies my pick of the Chiefs is this isn't a situation where it's like, oh, the Niners just, if they could get to Mahomes, if they could stop Mahomes, isn't that? The Chiefs' defense is the best we've seen it in years. And I just think that Pat Mahomes doesn't need to give you 303 touchdowns. He could have a solid game, and this team can put up 21 points, and they could still win the game with how good this defense is. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'm going to be rooting for the Niners on Sunday, and I'm going to put my money on the Chiefs to sort of hedge my feelings.
There you go. You can't lose, essentially.
Yeah,
you can't lose.
Exactly.
All right, my Super Bowl prediction, without any proof whatsoever, I'm 5-0 on my last 5, okay, on the winner. I'm 5-0 on my last 5 on the winner. I'm going to give you the winner here, and it's going to be this. I think it's going to be the Niners. I think they're going to get it done. I think, and I like the under 2 in the game, but I think the 49ers are going to win this game because I think this defense here, which has had to play a really just different brand of football in the second half because they've had to make big stops in the second half of these postseason games. And listen, the Chiefs are not the Packers and the Lions, but I think this defense is going to play a full game here. I don't think they're just going to come alive in the second half. So I think the defense is going to play well. It's going to come down to both defenses, like you mentioned. It's not just about, the way these offenses are going to go. It's going to come down to these defenses making stops and then allowing the offenses to then go in and score situationally I think points going to be hard to come by here. I like 23-20, close game. And
Nice.
I think the
Yeah.
49ers with Brock Purdy, who is great under pressure in this postseason, I think he's going to come alive here, win Super Bowl MVP, and give the 49ers their first Super Bowl in almost
Will
30, 35 years, whatever it is.
will the 49ers get to Patrick Mahomes?
Right.
'Cause
And
you're
I posted that yesterday. I think they will enough. I mean, I think they'll make him uncomfortable, bat some balls down, keep him contained where he can't run and he has to throw it away. Maybe not, with sacks, but
Mhm,
just keep him contained. Don't let him get in space where he's making throws on the run or, gashing you for 15, 20 yards like he
mhm.
likes to do. That'll be important for these defensive ends. Chase Young's got to show you something, right? I think he's
Not benched?
playing for his, if he, whatever minutes and, he gets here, he's playing for his namesake and potentially the rest of his career. I mean, he's going to get
Yeah,
another job, obviously, somewhere, but it'll be a different kind of feeling if he plays well in this one
yeah,
for
for
what
sure,
kind of contract he gets.
for sure. I'm
Yeah.
surprised. I thought you were gonna go with Kansas City, man.
I've been riding Kansas City. How long? I mean, I tried to stay on the bandwagon. I didn't pick him against Buffalo, be
Yeah.
honest there, but I had him 2 weeks ago against the Ravens. I got something about Purdy, man. I gotta be right about Purdy. There's just so many people, friends, people we know that'll come up to you and I'm a Purdy guy and I put myself out there as a Purdy guy and I want to defend him and I want to
Mhm.
rock with him and I want
Yeah.
them to win. I really do.
Yeah.
Problem is, I like both teams. I like Kelsey and Mahomes. I
Yeah.
love them,
Yeah.
but it's tough. All right. No, we don't have to do awards. I mean, we really don't have to do the awards.
Flacco got comeback player of the year.
Did he?
He did.
Oh,
I am shocked. I really didn't think they were gonna have the balls to do it.
Wow.
I mean, that's the way it should have gone. Like, Hamlin, it's a great story. I just think Hamlin got his recognition. He got his flowers. I don't think, that you need to give him this award. I think, you give
Oh
it
my
to
God, I
the way it's
can't
gone over the
believe
past
they
couple of
did.
years. The Joe Flacco story is incredible.
I just saw a tweet. I don't even want to read it to you. I don't even
Oh
want to
God.
read it to you.
Oh God.
It says coming back from playing from the Jets for the Jets, and then the greater sign, and then dying. So I'm sorry. That's out there now. Oh, real sorry. All right. That's
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Offensive player of the year is McCaffrey. Defensive rookie of the year was Will Anderson. That was a little surprise. Carter was the favorite heading in. I think they got this right, though. Will Anderson should have been the defensive rookie of the year.
Mhm.
CJ, obviously, offensive rookie of the year.
I don't want you to say obviously. I thought Puka deserved a little bit of more of a closer race.
I had an argument with a friend at school about that on the radio, and I think this is a year where he was just so dominant and so I know Puka was,
I
Puka,
get
and
it.
he's a number one, and he deserves some kind of
Yeah, but
recognition.
we've seen good rookie years like a Herbert. I know the team performance is different. Um
I think
and
Stroud's a
listen, if
little
we're
different.
doing most valuable rookie, it's Stroud, no doubt. The guy plays a way more valuable position. But I mean, like Puka broke Jamar Chase and Jefferson's records. That's insane.
Let me ask you this. No, I'm not going to ask it.
No, ask me. Ask me.
Should there be an offensive player rookie of the year award?
Wait, what?
Like, should there be another award where almost you're giving one to the quarterback and then you're giving one to a skill position?
Oh, you mean like a MVP
Yeah.
rookie and then no, I don't think so.
All right. We don't have the MVP yet, right?
No. Did you see, just before we end the Niners and the Super Bowl talk,
Yeah.
did you see this thing about Shanahan that he listens? He has every room bugged in the facility and he listens to the meetings between the coaches and the players.
Like things he's not supposed to
Like
know,
like
or
everyone is aware of it. He got this from his dad I read about it in the Athletic. He got this from his dad when in the Washington days. They were in a meeting when Kyle Shanahan was working as an assistant. They're in an offensive meeting and Mike Shanahan's not in the room. and they're talking about running this run play and doing a backside block
Uh-huh.
on this run play. And the coaches are agreeing with it. They like the idea. And then Mike Shanahan busts into the room and goes, no, 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 no. We're not going to do that. And they're all like, where the hell did you come from? He was listening to their meeting while he was in his office.
Yeah, that's weird.
Because they have the room bugs. And everyone knows it. Trent Williams said, like, every 49ers player knows that Kyle does this. And they're just like, yeah, we don't have a problem with it. I think it's weird.
I think it's a little weird. I don't want to say bugged. How about we say every room's mic'd?
It's the same stuff.
I know, but bugged
What are you, a
seems
mafia
like
guy? Like, what is
no, every room bugged sounds like he's doing it without them knowing. There's a mic in every room.
I get it.
But yeah, I mean, small
I get.
I think it's there are some benefits, but I also think there's probably more negatives to that.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
I do too. I think it's weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
All right, we don't have the MVP yet. I mean, it's going to be Lamar, but man, would that be a great surprise? I mean, listen, because Hamlin, how big of a favorite was he?
Yeah.
And Carter was a favorite too. So
it's upset night. This would be the biggest upset ever, I think, in the MVP.
Reggie Wayne and Jared Allen weren't Hall of Famers.
Lamar closed at minus 10,000, bro. That's if he loses if he doesn't win the MVP, that's ridiculous.
That's official.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, I hope he doesn't win because he don't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. All right. That's it for football. I'm closing the notebook on football there. My notebook was closed. And now we are going to talk a little NBA. We had the trade deadline today, which was Thursday. It's now closed. And JM, your New York Knicks, they made a nice trade getting Alec Burks back. Look at that little throwback. And that's Bojan or Bogdan?
Bojan.
Or
Bogdanovich.
What do you think?
I think it's great. I think the Knicks had some. Well, first of all, I don't know if you saw the lineup they fielded tonight, but
I heard about it. Yeah,
it was the fact that they were even competing in that game was impressive. And now Isaiah Hartenstein re-injured his Achilles tonight, so the injury bug. I mean, you might as well just wrap this team in bubble wrap right now. It's just getting ridiculous. But I think it's great. I mean, the Knicks had a amazing January, and they were continuing it throughout the beginning of February. And this team, we were already talking about them as a potential finals team, and at least being a top 3 team in the East. And the way I view them right now, even before that trade, was a top 2 team, because I think you would look at the way the Bucks have been playing lately. The Sixers are sliding. I think the only team that really can contend with that is the Cavaliers, because they've been just as hot as the Knicks. But it's great. I mean, they've been lacking scoring off the bench. That's been their problem ever since they lost Quickly, ever since they lost Ardre. Quickly was that 6-man, that guy off the bench that gave you scoring. He leaves, and Grimes, and he just wasn't gonna get it done as a number 1 scoring guy, or a Miles McBride coming off the bench as a number 1 scoring guy. Josh Hart off the bench is more of a defensive-minded passing guy, right? So it's huge for them to get Alec Burks, a guy that can shoot 40% from 3, and then Bojan, a guy who's averaged 20 points.
Yeah.
Take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, because it is Detroit. You're not going to be putting up 20 in New York, but we're not talking about a 20 points on 37% from the field. He is a very efficient player. So
he's 41% from 3-point.
Yep. He's a very efficient shooter from all levels of the court. And to have that coming off your bench now, along with Alec Burks, you still are, I guess, missing that ball handler. Deuce McBride is solid. He's not exactly a facilitator like Jalen Brunson is. I mean, Brunson's obviously a great scorer, but he's very good at facilitating too. So the deadline's over though, so they're showing their confidence in McBride. I'm wondering now what that rotation looks like when Mitch Robb comes back, whenever like fully healthy. I mean, I would say that Hartenstein's going to start still over Robinson, just because
even when he comes back, even when he comes back, postseason.
I think Hartenstein deserves to start the rest of the year. He's played great, and Robinson, I'm sure he's not going to be able to be playing 35 minutes. But then those bench options, of Burks. Let's see if I can do this off the top of my head. Burks, Hart, Bogdanovich, McBride, and Robinson. One of those guys is probably going to have to fall out of the rotation because I can't see Tibbs, especially running a 10-man rotation.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume it's McBride, and I guess you would have Burks playing a little point guard. I know he could handle the ball a little bit, and I think also he'll split maybe DiVincenzo handling the ball a little bit when Brunson's not on the floor. So, but
I mean,
anyway,
we're also not taking in account for injuries that could
right,
possibly happen to any of these guys. Hopefully, it's not one of your bigger guys, but
right.
I mean, that's why you're almost prepared for a depth piece to go down.
Yeah.
With the how deep Leon Rose has made this team, and I mean, Leon Rose, man. I mean, look at this guy.
Yeah.
I have a problem with Leon Rose. I think you know my problem with Leon Rose.
Agent?
Do you know my problem with Leon Rose?
Relationship with the agency?
He doesn't speak to the media. And when he does pre-recorded spots with Mike Breen. And I don't like that.
Well, you're a media guy. I just care how he runs the basketball team.
Right, and that's fine. But let's say I'm not a media guy. I like the fact that Joe Shane, after the Giants win 6 games, is out in front answering questions for 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I respect that Billy Epler calls into radio shows when he was the general manager and speaks to the media. I respect that. And listen, he hasn't had a bad tenure with the Knicks. I mean, how many years has he been president?
I think it was right around like 5 years.
So he's had a couple of losing seasons in that, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that when things aren't perfect, and he didn't do it last year. He didn't do it last year. So yeah. I can't even say he didn't do it when it was bad, but he's doing it when it's good.
Right.
I got a problem. That's all.
All right. Well, you have fun.
Does a good job. He does a good job with the basketball team.
MVP
and he kept
voting,
all his first round picks.
MVP voting is out.
Yes. Fucking whatever.
Lamar 49. Josh Allen 1.
You know what, man? It's like
you're a little Niners fan, aren't you?
No, let's defend Allen here. I mean, come on. I don't think Lamar had that great of a year. And I just think it was default. I think it was default at that point. Yeah. Why? Because Josh Allen threw 18 interceptions. He had 3 against the Jets. Okay. No, and the Jets always play him tight. And the last one, they were losing and they need to throw it up. I mean,
we got a little ripped apart when we said back in week 17, whatever it was, after on Christmas Eve, after the week 16 game when the Ravens beat the Niners, right? And everybody was like, oh, Lamar's the MVP. We recorded that week and we said, this is a little ridiculous that everybody's just saying Lamar's the MVP now. And everybody was like, oh, but look at the year the Ravens are having. And how can you not? They're the number 1 seed and this and that. Well, now look at them. They're not in the freaking Super Bowl. So what was the point then? Because they didn't make it. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. So what was the point of this whole Lamar Jackson should be the MVP?
Yeah.
Why not give it to a guy who had a better year like a Christian McCaffrey who's in the Super Bowl? Or a Josh Allen that lost to the Kansas City Chiefs that, oh, by the way, beat Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. So enough with how's their team doing? I get it if you don't want to give it to a guy that, like I always use the Deshaun Watson Texans example. They went 4-12. The guy led the league in passer rating. Mm-hmm. I understand you don't want to give it to a 4-12 quarterback. But why not give it to a 3-seed quarterback or a 1-seed running back? You got to give it to the number 1 seed and that quarterback. You have to do it. But if you say Brock Purdy, who's the quarterback of the number 1 seed,
no, he's got the weapons. No,
you don't know ball, casual, this and that. Yeah, you don't know ball, actually. It's ridiculous. I don't care. Merla, I know I'm ranting right now. I'm sorry. But Joe Montana, I want to use him as an example. His coach is on tape. Look this up as saying that Montana wasn't the greatest arm. And by the way, Joe Montana is the same quarterback of the same team that Brock Purdy plays on right now, right? Yep. Okay. Joe Montana, you ask anybody over the age of 30, they will tell you one of the greatest quarterbacks. Some of them might still view him as their GOAT, right? MVPs, Super Bowl rings. played within structure, threw guys open, very smart quarterback. When Brock Purdy does it, though, not so good because
No.
he was drafted in the 7th round. That
No.
is the only reason.
Yeah. What people don't realize is that Brock Purdy is in his first full season starting. 1.5 years here of playing. Just wait. Give it a couple of years. The people that don't think Brock Purdy is all this, please, you're going to look like such an idiot in about
These
2 to 3 years.
these hands, I would have many fingers left if you asked me right now what quarterbacks would you take over Brock Purdy for the rest of their careers right now.
Yeah.
I would take Brock Purdy is on my top 10 list of quarterbacks I would take for the next 5, 10, 15 years, whatever time frame you want to use.
And listen, right now, there is a clear distinction between, Lamar and I don't even think Lamar, Stroud, and, I'll throw Rodgers in there, and, Herbert and Burrow and Allen and Mahomes. Like, there is a clear distinction between those guys.
Yeah.
And him. I'm 100% there, but he's about to get there. He's about to get there.
Coach and quarterback, perfect marriage.
Yes,
Chiefs
it is.
mastered it. 49ers, we'll see what happens this Sunday, but I think even going forward, I think they're starting to get the hang of it here.
Yeah.
Back to the NBA.
Back to the NBA. Anything else on the Knicks there?
Nothing really. I mean, we talked about them a lot last week. I just think this trade makes them better, and they got to get healthier.
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, listen, I was listening to a couple people today talk. Probably want a month or so of everybody playing together, so there's no rush to get everybody back right now, but you want a month. Would you shut everybody down until the All-Star break?
Oh, I'd shut Brunson down.
Obviously,
I was happy
out.
he did not play tonight. He's got an ankle sprain. I'm assuming it's a low ankle sprain because it doesn't, a high ankle sprain, you're talking weeks. But then again, this OG went from being a game time decision the day after he got hurt to being out for like a month and a half. I mean, at that point, who else are you shutting down? Maybe a Hartenstein, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to shut down Josh Hart.
Right. No, we're not going to shut down Josh Hart. All right. Buddy Hield's a 76er. What do you think of them? What do you think of the 76ers really not going hard? I mean, there's questions obviously with Embiid. What's his deal going to be? They seem like, and they are doing this, they're loading up for the offseason and going to add that next star player to go along with Maxey and Embiid in the offseason.
It's funny because everybody's saying that about the Knicks too, that the Knicks are doing the same thing. They've made all these moves, and the Knicks haven't even given up a first-round pick. They got all these first-round picks. Bojan has a team option this offseason, so they could trade him. They could re-sign him. They could let him go. Like, they have as much flexibility as they want with him. So, I mean, I think the Sixers are going along the same route. This year, their outlook seems a little bleak to me. I don't really see them going anywhere. One thing that I find funny is we're just kind of like forgetting about Embiid and like the whole playoff performance thing. Cause I keep hearing this thing when we were talking about Jalen Brunson and talk about, what is Jalen Brunson that guy that could be a 1A, right? That could be like the top dog superstar. And when it's crunch time, like he could perform. And then to be like, yeah, could he be a Jokic, a Giannis, an Embiid? And I'm like, why is everybody bringing up Joel Embiid when he's been clowned for years for underperforming in the playoffs to the same levels or worse than, Julius Randle gets clowned for his playoff performances?
Yeah.
So I think with that's a concern. Is Embiid, is he going to be healthy? Is he going to show up in the playoffs? There's a lot of X factors with him. Even fully healthy, I think this team is not a top team in the East. So I think they're looking more towards next year. And then the East is just weird. We're not going to talk about the Celtics. The Celtics are great. The Bucks. What the hell is the deal with this team? I mean, Merle, you got Doc Rivers. First of all, he's coaching the East on the All-Star game, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy. He's giving the bonus too and everything to Griffin, right?
Yeah, which is nice.
That's nice, but it's just a weird situation.
Yeah, he's also got money coming out of his what.
Who, Rivers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
TV deals, his coaching days with the Celtics.
Really screwed ESPN too, man. What the hell?
Yeah. The Bucks, though, all over the place. They're dropping games. They're choking down the stretch. They're 1-3 ever since. Actually, they might have won the other night. I gotta look that up, but
It's
whatever.
the
They're
Doc
one and
Rivers
three
experience.
in the Doc Rivers experience. The defense is not getting better. This team just doesn't seem to mesh very well. Not big on the Bucks, so I'm still viewing the Knicks as the second best team in the East.
Still better than Cleveland, you would think.
Yeah. I mean, Cleveland is great. They're the 2 seed right now. They're playing very well. The Knicks have had their injuries over the past couple of weeks
Okay.
here. So I think at full strength, the Knicks beat them. I mean, they beat them last year. The Knicks, I think, have improved more than the Cavaliers have coming off of last year.
Scary series, though.
Scary series. I think that is a potential matchup, right? A 2 versus a 3. You could have a rematch of last year.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell's playing great. I think they lack that star power. The Cavs, like the Knicks, get knocked for. I think there's different tiers to it, but the Knicks have 2 All-Stars. Cavs have 1 All-Star. I think the Knicks also have better depth. Those are 2 really good things to have. I think the Knicks are also a better overall 3-point shooting team. I think the Knicks are slightly better defensively. So, yeah.
Interesting series that would be.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the Lakers standing pat there? I mean, not really doing anything big.
Yeah, really weird. That's what I thought of it. I thought, I didn't expect to see LeBron James has been traded to X, Y, or Z.
Of course.
But I was expecting them to maybe go out and get a couple role players like they did last year, to kind of to solidify this team a little bit. I mean, I think the DeJounte Murray rumors kind of died down. I think that was stupid. I think Russell is a fine enough player where you don't need a DeJounte Murray, and I don't even know if DeJounte Murray really moves the needle for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had any interest in Zach LaVine before he got hurt, but it just, I'm not asking for them to go out like you saw the names that got traded today: PJ Washington, like Daniel Gafford, Bogdanovich, Buddy Hield. Like,
No needle movers.
I was expecting, but solid role player, good guys, like good solid minute, productive players, and nothing from the Lakers.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, the Mavs making some weird moves. It was a quiet deadline, to be honest with you. It wasn't, there were moves made, but there wasn't any major names. We didn't see a Kevin Durant get traded or a James Harden like we've seen, like we saw last year.
How good are they, man? Those Clippers, they're good. I was
Right
watching
now,
a couple of people talk about them, and they look like they're a fun watch. I might have to throw them on.
They are really good. That starting lineup when they have Harden, Westbrook, Leonard, and George on the floor together, they're like the best combo of 4 players, advanced stats wise, across the league. Like, that's the best combination of players you could have on the court. It's
What a mix of guys. That must be a fun locker room.
It's the strongest unit. Yeah. The West is very weird to me. It's so freaking close because I looked the other day and I'm like, oh, the Clippers finally, they got to the 1 seed. Like, wow. And then I checked this morning, they're the 4 seed. Like, what the hell?
Do you think they're the best team in the West?
I do.
Right now, they're the best team in the West.
They're the best team in the West.
If you had to pick a team to come out of the West, they would win.
See, that's different. Best
You don't
right
trust
now,
these guys in the postseason?
Best right now, I'm going to go Clippers. Make it out. There's always, it's an older team, so there's concern about fatigue, there's concern about injury, but at the same time, I could say, well, they have the most experience, they have guys who've won championships. Actually, besides Kawhi, does anybody on that team have a ring? Harden doesn't have a ring, Westbrook doesn't have a ring, and Paul George doesn't have a ring, so never mind.
Kawhi has a ring.
Kawhi has a ring, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough. The Thunder, I'm not going to say the Thunder. I just think the Thunder, they're very good. Too inexperienced for me.
So it'll be Denver. It'll be Denver, the only team you're really considering.
I think Minnesota is maybe the scariest team that I would want to play. I know Denver's great. Denver's great. I would still be very scared to play Denver, especially they're so good at home. But oh my God, the Timberwolves defensively are a nightmare.
Is Jokic going to win MVP again?
I don't think so. I mean, he might. Like, if I had a vote, I wouldn't vote for him, but he might win it now that Embiid's out. I would honestly, Luka's really making it tough.
Okay.
I would really consider Luka. I would consider SGA for like a second. Um,
How many votes is Brunson gonna get?
Not many. I want to see Brunson make All NBA though.
Okay.
I want. He's got to beat out some good names, right? He's got to for guards, first team. He's better than Lillard. He's way better than Lillard this year. But he's got to beat out Halliburton. He's got to beat out SGA. He's got to beat out Luka. I mean, those. There's 2 guards or 3. There might be no. I think there's 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center on the All NBA team. But I think he'd probably get second team because I can't see him making it over SGA or Luka. But he might be third. He might be the third guy in.
All right. We'll see. We'll see if he can meet your expectations there or your wants and needs.
Yeah.
Okay. Pause. That's gonna do it here. Episode 123 in the books as we say goodbye to the NFL season and hello to NBA being at the forefront. NASCAR is
hello to the Daytona 500.
Hello to the Daytona 500. I usually watch the Daytona.
Let's go. Let's go.
And although I'm probably watching the Stadium Series, so I won't be watching Daytona.
You like shows? You're a show guy. I really encourage you and anybody out there, watch the NASCAR show. Everybody on Netflix. Everybody loved the F1 show, and I like the F1 show too. I watched the NASCAR show. They did a very good job catering to the casual fan. The storylines are great. Netflix, I think it was a very well produced show. It's only like 5 episodes too. It's not a.
So if I watch that, will that catapult me into wanting to watch?
I'm not saying you're gonna come on the podcast next week and start talking to me about tire pressures and tire and fenders, but I would think that you would get a little bit of a curiosity.
All right, maybe I'll check it out.
Right.
I like docuseries shows like that. All right, that's gonna do it.
Any baseball news next week, by the way? Are we gonna get anything?
I hope so. I do want to talk some baseball. We'll definitely try and work some baseball in either this coming episode or definitely the next episode after that.
You don't want to
sneak in catchers reporting.
You want to sneak in who the Mets sign?
Oh, Fujinami and Dykeman. Huge moves. Like
huge.
You don't understand how excited I am about those moves.
John Curtis-esque moves.
No, it was a little better. Diekman. All right, Diekman is. I'm not going to talk about it. I'll talk off air. We'll talk Mets and Yankees and all that. It's coming soon, but thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys next time.